1 John chapter number 4. That's 1 John chapter number 4. And then when you get down, I want you to turn to the front of the book, to Genesis chapter number 29. Genesis 29. Father, we bless you this day in your son Jesus' name. I pray that your holy hand be upon me, that I preach this, what you've said on my heart. God, give us understanding, give us wisdom and knowledge, and cause us to go forth from this place and grow in what you've given us. I want to tell you thank you for the love that you place on us. I want to tell you thank you for what you do for us until we come to the place where we come to know you in the knowledge of the truth. Bless us in this house. God, make preaching easy and cause this anointing in here. God, you give the flow right now in the son Jesus' name. We declare these things done to your glory and to your honor. We bless you for it. Amen and amen. John chapter number 4, beginning at verse number 18. It reads, there is no fear in love, but perfect love, somebody say perfect love, casts out fear. Why? Because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. Let me read that again. There is no fear in love. Somebody say there is no fear in love. But perfect love casts out fear, because fear has torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. You can put your Bibles down and do like we normally do in the house. Turn to somebody that's close to you. I want everybody looking at somebody, everybody joining hands with somebody. I know it's not Valentine's Day yet. We still have a couple of days, but it is the weekend leading up to it. I want you to first look at your neighbor and say, neighbor. Neighbor. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Now when you say neighbor. Neighbor. I want to talk to you this morning. About when a man loves a woman. Loves a woman. You can take this. You can take this. When Pastor Bono. When a man, I want to talk to you this morning about something. I know it's Valentine's Day, and I'm not known to be somebody who speaks based upon the holidays. Some people get their special messages for Christmas. I remember, Minister Roger, there was a time that I had to stand for Easter, and I didn't deliver what they called an Easter message. Let me tell you why. The Bible says they that are led by the Spirit of the Lord, they are the sons of God. And God knows what you have need of the most. How many know that you can almost pick out and tell somebody where all the Easter messages come from? You don't hear me. You can almost pick out and tell where all the Christmas messages come from. But I believe in being led of the Lord so that He can give me what is necessary for the house. And can I tell you, whatever is necessary for the house may not be conducive for the day. What do I mean by the day? Just because it's New Year's doesn't mean that you give a New Year's message. What you need to do is be led of the Lord. Somebody say, be led of the Lord. Be led of the Lord. Yesterday I had a conversation with two people, and as I was talking to them, the Lord began to remind me of a song that the old saints used to sing. And I dated a young lady who in high school, my high school sweetheart, would sing her heart out. And she always got requested to sing this particular song. And this song came up in my spirit. It's the safest place in the whole wide world It's in the will of God. You remember that song? If the safest place is in the whole wide world is where God would have you to be. How many know that God takes his time to minister to us based upon where we are? Amen. If God was to deal with us based upon who he is, God could speak one word and we could utterly be consumed. John said it like this, that when he was in the presence of the Lord, that he fell to the ground like a dead man, meaning he died in the presence of the Lord. That's why the Bible says no man ever see God and live. Remember when I taught you some months ago about when the Egyptians went after God's people and they crossed over the Red Sea, and the Spirit of the Lord held up the enemy until on one side it was light and on the other side it was darkness. And the moment God was about to release them to go, let them go after the Hebrew people because they were not Jews yet, and he showed them his face. And can I tell you, when God shows you his face, you don't have long to live. If God in all of his majesty was to step into this place, every place around in Brunswick would be consumed. They would have to teach in a history and on the map, this is where Brunswick used to be. How many know that his presence is so divine and so strong that even the Bible says heaven does not need Georgia Power. Amen. That his very presence lights up all heaven. So I began to lay before the Lord and ask God what to do for this season for Valentine's Day, and I can tell you that I struggled with this because I wasn't getting anything. So I tend to wait, and anybody that is a half-decent pastor, preacher, teacher, evangelist, apostle, whatever you want to call yourself, or whatever God has called you, if you're halfway decent, you'll find that you will wait on God. Sometimes in waiting on God, God likes to wait till the last minute. I come to find out that God loves coming through in the last minute. Sometimes he wants us to move ourselves out of the way completely, and then he begins to speak. Well, I am determined that I will not give you something that is of myself, and so sometimes it is the last minute. So I said, Lord, okay, you're going to have to help me. It's coming up to the last couple of minutes, and I got nothing. So I got up to do what I needed to do, went on with my day, and I got nothing. So I went on, had someplace I needed to go yesterday evening, went, came back, surely figuring that the Lord was going to deal with me about something, and it wasn't till I opened up my spare bedroom where my altar was, or is, and I went in and I got on the altar, and I don't know about you, I just talked to the Lord like I'm talking to you now. I went in and I said, you really like doing this to me, don't you? Because now I'm sweating. Because now I'm not only tired, not only am I weary, but I'm getting kind of scared. Because I don't have anything. And I told you I would never just stand and give something to the people just because of time. And while I was there, guess what I heard? Absolutely nothing. 12:30 came around, Bob, and guess what I heard? Absolutely nothing. I went and sat in the room, got off my altar, went and sat in the room, and whipped out that laptop, and I turned it on, and I pulled up the Bible program, and I said, surely now you're going to talk to me. And guess what I heard? Absolutely nothing. So I sat back in the chair, and how many know when you're tired, if you get into your favorite chair, you start to get the bobblehead, you know, and I got the bobblehead, and I don't know how much time I had nodded off, but when I woke up, simple words I heard now. And when I heard now, I sat up as if he was going to give me something, and guess what I heard? Absolutely nothing. I said, okay, Lord, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm refusing to go to bed until I know that you have given me something. Please be careful when you say something to the Lord. Because when you say something to God, guess what God's going to do? Take you at your word. 3 o'clock came around, and here it is. I'm getting tired. I'm weary by now. And I said, well, you know, I'm going to bed. And guess what I heard? No, I thought you said you would wait on me. Then I felt guilty. I said, but I'm tired, Lord. He said, that's what they said when I asked them to pray for Jesus in the garden.
Jesus.
The spirit is willing, but my flesh is weak. I felt guilty. And I said, since you said now, I thought you were going to do something. He says, that's how I love you. I have learned to do something for you that you have not mastered for me. Y'all got to hold on to y'all way this morning. He says, I have learned how to wait on you, but you have not learned how to wait on me. He says, because I want to teach you how a man loves a woman. I popped off that cap or that pen so fast and began to write. And that verse is what he skipped me to. There is no fear in love. Somebody say fear.
Fear.
If you're writing, write down the word fear. It is phobos in the Hebrew. It is P-H-O-B-O-S. P-H-O-B-O-S. Somebody say phobos. He begins to talk to me about what phobos means. He says there is no alarm and there is no fright. Somebody say alarm. And fright. What do you mean? He says when your love is right, even when time is about to run out, you can learn how to trust in the love that you have instead of being afraid. I said, I don't understand. I'm hearing the Lord clearly now. I don't understand the reason why people get alarmed in relationships when it comes down to love. Somebody say love.
Love.
When it comes down to love, people get afraid when we are unsure. People get afraid when we are unsure. You're sure about it when the love is coming your way. You're sure about it when the flowers are coming. You're sure about it when you get the phone call, the text. You're sure about it when things are going good. But when things are going bad, you are alarmed or frightened that your love, you don't have the right kind of love to sustain you. And he said the reason why you have that kind of love, because your love has not become perfect. Somebody say perfect. Perfect. If you, I'm going somewhere, write down the word perfect. Wait a minute. The word perfect is teleos. T-E-L-E-I-O-S. T-E-L-E-I-O-S. Somebody say teleos. Listen what he says. It means complete, possessing mental and moral character. Complete, possessing, meaning having mental and moral character. Watch this, of full age. What do you mean, moral character? What is character? We've been taught this past year about character so many times. Character is what a person's old nama. Somebody say old nama. It is your name. What do you mean your name? It is what you're known by. Your character comes out based upon what you do. That's why we tell people, be careful how you name your child, because they take on the character of the name. If you name that child Terror, guess what that child's going to be? Yeah, y'all don't hear me. I remember, how many remember when Hugo, and we had to deal with Hugo and deal with Iris, the two storms that were back to back. I remember living off of Alabama when I first moved here in 89, that Hugo and Iris hit. when Hugo and Iris hit, I had a neighbor that lived across the yard, right across. I lived upstairs in the apartment, and across the yard, I always saw her. I don't know, when somebody's pregnant, you see them reach a stage where they're ready to deliver, and they just right there. And I never forgot when that storm came. Everybody was concerned about that lady, and we asked the lady, "What are you going to name your children?" And she says, "I don't know yet." Hugo and Iris hit, and that woman went into labor. How many know when the barometric pressure changes in the air, women tend to go into labor? Can I tell you, if you've ever had surgery or had an injury, when the barometric pressure changes, can I tell you, where you've had your greatest injury, you begin to feel it. Now, I want to take a little side note for a moment. I've been praying for this church, and I want to tell you why. Watch this. I don't want y'all to look around when I say this. The Lord showed me that this church is being attacked by a spirit of infirmity. Somebody say infirmity. Can I tell you something? Watch this. Those that are having problems with your legs, raise your hand. Watch this. Look, I want y'all to put your hand back up. Look around and see the number. See the number. Watch this. Put your hand back down. How many, watch the spirit. How many are dealing with their right leg? You see what's happening? Guess what pastor is dealing with? His right leg. The Lord says from leadership down, there's been an attack, physical attack. Been praying for you, and I'm doing what he told me to do. I'll talk to y'all about that later. But anyway, I want you to know that this woman went into labor and named her twins, boy and girl, Hugo and Iris. Can I tell you, pray for that lady. She had 2 hurricanes that she had to raise. Where am I going with this? Somebody say perfect love.
Perfect love.
Listen what he says. You can have alarm and you can have fright, but love that is complete, somebody say complete.
Complete.
It means mature. It means love that has gone through something. And the only way that you learn love is to go through something. Anybody ever had their heart broken? Anybody ever been disappointed? Anybody ever said, I ain't gonna never let nobody do me like that? Can I tell you, you were allowed to go through some things to teach you love. Sometimes we learn things on one level in the negative, and sometimes we learn it in the positive. Can I tell you, in the midst of you learning love, you have learned that there comes a time that your love has to grow up. You can't stay in puppy love.
Amen. Amen.
Puppy love is that first love that you have up front. But how many know, and you get married, puppy love seems to disappear? Y'all don't hear me. That they say that's when you know the honeymoon is over. But watch this. Real love, somebody say real love.
Real love.
Takes out the trash.
That's right.
Y'all don't hear me. See, you won't worry about the trash in puppy love. In puppy love, you don't let each other see each other in a bad situation. But how many know real love? Say real love.
Real love.
Real love wake up with a green olive or pasty face.
Right.
Real love wake up with curve.
That's right.
Y'all don't hear me. Real love. What did that man say? You wake up smelling castor oil. You wake up smelling hair grease. That's. No. You wake up with different things that you did. Real love shows up home. Real love does what is necessary. Somebody say necessary.
Necessary.
How do you know that the way that a person loves you is by what a person does for you? How many know a person can tell you that they love you, but what matters most is that they show you that they love you? Because how many know some people can actually live without you even telling them, but what you really need to know is that you love me. Look around and ask somebody, do you really love me?
Do you really love me?
Now, can I tell you, that's what Jesus says, because watch, he says, because there comes a time that when you don't see me, and when you don't feel me, and when you don't sense me, you got to know that I'm still in love with you. Right? You got to know that Jesus, sometimes you may go a season and get absolutely nothing. he wants you to move past that first I just got saved kind of love. He wants you to move into kind of love that if you don't feel him, breathe in, breathe out. He still sustaining you. He loves you. He still woke you up this morning. He still loves you. Wait, grace and mercy still following you. How many know we don't always do things right, but grace and mercy still following you? Yes, he still loves you. Look at somebody and say, he still loves me. There is no fear. There is no fright or alarm in love. But perfect love, this is complete love, mature love, casts out what makes you alarmed. Because fear has torment. If you're writing, write down the word torment. It means penal affliction. It means that it has punishment. Wait. When you don't know somebody really loves you and you're involved in a relationship with them, it makes you feel like you're suffering. How many know love is not supposed to make you feel like you're suffering? I'm going somewhere today and I might look at the wall and look at the floor because I don't want nobody to think that I'm talking about you. I'm just telling you what the Lord gave me. Sometimes love makes you feel like you have to suffer for a while. And the Lord wants me to talk to you this morning about when a man loves a woman. This is not so much just a natural. You're going to see some natural ways, but this is not natural. This is how God loves us. I told you I play songs based upon what the message is going to be. When you know the Lord waited for you. He's been waiting to save you, fill you, change you, make you whole for a long time, but he allowed you to go on and do all that you wanted to do. And then when you fallen on your face, he said, I still love you. If you ever want to read a true love story, there's two places in the scriptures that you can go to. Go to the Song of Solomon. You can read about the Song of Solomon, a truly love story. But if you ever want to read an ultimate love story, go to the book of Hosea and just begin to read slowly. You don't hear me? God told this man of God to keep himself and keep yourself whole and keep yourself unspotted from the world. And he did. And he was waiting to be married. All the other sons of the prophets was getting married and having families, and poor Hosea was waiting on to marry his bride. And Hosea kept himself. He didn't go out and run around with women, and Hosea didn't do all this kind of stuff. Hosea kept himself safe and secure. And now when it was time for God to give him a wife, God said, I got a wife for you, Hosea. Can you see Hosea saying, praise the Lord? But I want you to go down to the red carpet lounge, and I want you to find that girl that's swinging on that pole, that she sells her body for money, and I want you to give her, Lord, truly you are not talking to me. And Hosea said, but you want me to do what? And God sends him down to go marry somebody, watch this, that most people already have. Hosea marries her. When Hosea marries her, Hosea brings her in, and he takes the prostitute and he does his best to make a housewife out of her. Can I tell you, I'm about to mess with you for a moment. Until somebody gets some stuff out of their spirit, you can't make somebody be what they don't want to be. Lord have mercy. Because can I tell you that there's some things down on the inside of people, and they say they want something, they say they want somebody, but if you really want somebody, you're going to have to change. Y'all don't hear me? If you really want to have the kind of love and relationship that you really dreamed about and that God has so set in order, it doesn't matter whether you've been swinging on a pole or you just came from under a bridge. Can I tell you, if you really want to love like God wants you to love, so that that love that is reflected in heaven can be reflected on earth, you're going to have to change. Look at somebody and tell them you're going to have to change. Because the moment you get with somebody, can I tell you, two worlds are going to collide. two different backgrounds, two different ways of living, two different ways of walking, and Hosea knew it, and Hosea tried to bring her in and make her what he needed her to be. He gave her everything she needed that was conducive. Hosea had it going on. Hosea had life. He had a house. He had a camel on 4 wheels. Y'all don't hear me. Hosea had everything, gave her everything she needed, and for a little while she played the part of the wife. But how many know? If you don't ever change, you can only play the part for a little while. Because after a little while, then that old you gonna kick in. That part of you that you don't want nobody to know gonna kick in right in the midst of your relationship. And she looked at everything that she had, and she thought she had it going on, but she realized that she loved the pole and where she was better. Her love had not become mature nor complete because she never thought enough of herself to make the necessary change for the life that God had given her. I'm going somewhere. God said to tell you that he has made some of our lives so much better because he's given you a mate, but yet you still won't change. You've come to the place where you think more about yourself than you think about your mate. Real love doesn't think about itself. Real love is assured about itself. Real love knows that I know how to give what I need to give, and all I need to do is give it. But when you have somebody who is not ready to love, but they say they love you or they're in love with you, love is going to wind up being lopsided. Has anybody ever been in a relationship where love has been lopsided? You do all you can to give all you can give, and yet you get little in return. Can I tell you, the Lord said to preach about this thing because that's how he feels loving others.
Glory.
Wow.
Lopsided love. The kind of love that when you're there, how many know you people, those saints used to say, or old people used to say, when you come into a relationship, you need to give 50-50. How many know you can't give 50% of nothing and expect to get 100% of something? You got to give your all. Look at somebody and tell them you got to give your all.
Your all.
Oh, you need to look at somebody else. You looked at the wrong person. Tell that other person you got to give your all. Because your all is going to require you your all if your love is ever going to grow up. Because if you only give part of you, you cannot expect to get a whole you in return. Why? Because the other person, it could be giving you 100% and you giving 50%. Then watch this. The Bible says that two becomes one. Then you can't take God is the only one who does this kind of math. He does not take the one and add another one and make two. He takes the whole one and add another one to make one. Watch. So if he takes one and adds another one to make a one, so you're going to have to give 100 and to be 100 and to become 100. Because if you are not 100 in your relationship, it means that someone is not pulling their part. I'm going somewhere. It means that someone is not complete in their heart and in their mind. They're not willing to change their way. They're too busy holding on to what I think. What I think has to die when the two becomes one. Why? Because can I tell you, I'm just talking as the Lord gives it to me. In Genesis, when God saw that he made Adam and Eve equal, somebody say equal.
Equal.
He made them equal in the very beginning, but then Eve ate. God says, in the day that you eat of this fruit or of this tree, you shall surely die. And Adam knew that he didn't want to be alone anymore because all the animals had counterparts and they multiplied. And God saw that he didn't have anybody for himself. So God thought enough of him to give him somebody to be equal with him. Can I tell you something? This world and society that we have today and that we live in today wants to tell you that we are equal. Let me mess with you for a moment. You can call me old fogey if you want to. I just believe the word of God to be true. We think that you enter into a relationship and we are both going to be equal. Can I tell you, how is it then that when a woman carries a child and she is about to give birth to this child and the man goes around and he says, we are pregnant. She said, no, we not pregnant. I'm pregnant. No. You didn't ship sharing this pain. If we were equal, you could easily say to the man, I carried the last one, you carried your hand. But how do you know we are not equal? We are not made equal. God didn't make us equal. But there is an agenda in the land that tells us that there is an equality that's trying to happen. I'm going somewhere, just trust me. That there is a fight going on in the land where this feminist movement is trying to emasculate the men to the place where the women feel like we are equal. We can do this. Can I mess with you for a moment? I know you have kids, and y'all just gonna have to go home and talk to them about this because the Lord just told me to say it. I'm gonna have to say it. And so if you ain't talked to them about birds and bees yet, break out the honey. And can I tell you, watch this. There's a movement in the land today that where women are fighting for their rights to be equal. Can I tell you that fight is always going to be there because God did not make us equal. How do I know this? Because even when the fall happened and Eve ate, Adam knew that, girl, you messed up, and God says, in the day that you eat of this fruit, you shall surely die. But I don't want you to die, because if you die, I'm going to be left alone, and I'm going to be right back in the same spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat too, and I'm going to save your life based upon the fact that I love you. Watch this. That's why in Ephesians, I hear the Spirit of the Lord talking about it. In Ephesians, he begins to say that the woman needs to honor or reverence her husband. He doesn't even talk to her about loving her husband. Why? I always used to ask God, why don't you even talk to the women and tell the women they need to love their husband right? He said, because y'all are not made the same. Watch this, because we equate love differently. If you ever respect your man, if you ever reverence him, and when you sitting among your girls and your girls say they all of them just dogs, you gotta say, you might have gone to the pound and picked out yours, but mine didn't come from the shelter. Can I tell you, you gotta be able to say, but mine is a man. I know he may not be doing everything quite right, and I know he's got some things he needs to work on, but you can't expect him to become something that you're not calling him. Why? Because watch this, you forget that the two of you are one. Somebody say one. So when you're talking about him, you're talking about yourself. You don't hear me? So how can you talk about yourself and put yourself down in front of your girls? It means it goes to tell me that your love is not complete because now you're afraid. Because you're only afraid of frightened or alarmed because he's not being all he needs to be. Let me ask you a question. Have you looked in the mirror lately? When's the last time you were all you needed to be? Wait a minute. There were some things that you know that we are attracted by. Hips, lips, and fingertips. You know that smell got our attention. We were not attracted to your intellect, your money, or nothing else going on. Pastor is old school today. You know that that's what attracted us, but you let it go. But I had all 5 of these kids. Yes, but guess what? He married. But watch this. Now you get mad if somebody walk around and walk past him that looked like the way you used to look. Y'all didn't hear me. Since he looked like that person looks like the way that you used to look, now you get mad. Is that what you want? He needs to answer you and say yes. Why? Because you need to take the time. Because if you know that what got his attention, if you really love him, give the man what he loves. You don't hear me? The Bible says reverence the man. Why reverence the man? Because if you reverence him, we equate love differently than women do. Y'all don't hear me? We look at love like this. When you come to us and you walk past us and you take, see, I keep my head bald for a reason, but that's not good concern. When you walk past us and you're going from the living room to the kitchen and you take your hand, lay your hand on her head and just walk by, we think she loves me. You don't hear me? When you say, babe, I got some groceries in the car and I got 10 bags. Would you be so kind to go and get those bags out of the car? And you know the NFL Super Bowl is on. And you know good and well now he's torn between his love for you and them 10 bags in the car. But if you really love him, you need to understand that guess what? That he is moved by something that you're not moved by. Very few women like sports. So you got to understand if he's sports oriented and that's what he loves, give the man what he loves. Watch this. And then he'll say, first commercial, first commercial, first commercial. And soon after that first commercial, he ain't going to the car to get 2 bags. How many of you know what I'm talking about? We're going to do our best to carry all 10. We're going to have 10 bags just trying to come into the house the best way we know. Don't hear me. Trying to drive 10 bags in the house at the same time. And when we come in, watch this. If her response is this, he brought the 10 bags in. You couldn't have put them bags down better than that. We all got quiet. See, you can't talk to us a certain way and get a certain response. Wait a minute. Let me put it to you this way. You can't talk to the other side of you in a certain way and expect to get a proper response. Because we are different. We don't respond that way. Y'all looking at me. But Pastor, you talking about men. Yeah. Then so men, the Bible says you ought to love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave and gave and gave and gave, not stuff. And gave, not a house. And gave, not a car. And gave, not money. And gave, not an appointment to get your hair done. And gave, not an appointment to get your nails done. And gave, not an appointment, please get your toes done. But watch, and gave himself. Somebody say himself. Can I tell you, because what equates to love to a lady is when a man takes the time to give himself. He can work and bring home money, and money will overgo so far that if he ain't home and he ain't taking care of business, y'all look at me. If he ain't taking care of business, how many know money can only go but so far? Somebody say, take care of business. Why is the Lord having me deal with this? Because he says our love has not come to the place where it's complete. And we have an alarm going off that we are afraid to even answer. What is the alarm? That we don't have what we think we need to survive the place that we're in. And God said to tell my people this morning that you have what you need to survive the place that you're in because I am your man. And in spite of the fact that I've had to wait for you to come to the place where you make the necessary change, I loved you when you didn't love me.
Amen. Amen.
I loved you when you didn't love yourself. The reason why I told Hosea to go marry Gomer was because I wanted Israel to see what I feel like loving them. Y'all ain't hear me. And when Gomer went out and played the part of the harlot, she came back pregnant. She came back with a problem. Y'all don't hear me. And when she came back with a problem, she came back with a belly full. And can I tell you, it wasn't over food. And when she got back in the house, he restored her back to her place. And he began to take care of that one child. And after a while, somebody say after a while. After a while, she began to realize, because she hadn't changed, that she missed being out in the street. Now I have a child. Let me mess with you for a moment. I'm going to take my liberty in the Lord this morning. I'm going to take my time. Can I tell you, when you begin to give birth to a child, women, you got to understand, I don't care what your age is, you just entered into motherhood. And motherhood requires something of you that most men know absolutely nothing about. How do I know this? Because when the child hurts himself and the child don't know what to do, the child goes running to daddy and says, Daddy, help me. And the child says, go see your mama. Why? Because she has a certain relationship with the child that the daddy does not have. And since she has that relationship, watch this, when you come to the place of being a mother, you have to separate yourself from your girls. Why I say that? Because your child now becomes priority number one. And we live in a day and a time that the young girls are becoming mothers at such an early age until the older mothers are not teaching them how to tend the house, how to take care of things. They're not teaching them how, and watch this, can I tell you, even how you know, even if you do teach them, they still gonna do what they want to do. But then when it comes down, they're ready to push their child off on everybody so that they can go to Jacksonville and go to Savannah and they can go hang out and they can go do what they want to do. Can I tell you, you know why they do that? Because their love for their child does not become complete.
Amen.
They're afraid that they're not going to find a man that's going to love them and love their child. Right? Anytime love is not complete, somebody say complete.
Complete.
Or grown up or mature, you tend to become frightened and you tend to go after stuff that you think you need, and you really don't need that. Because if you were to settle yourself, even if a young mother has this child out of wedlock, it doesn't mean that is the end. All of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All of us have fallen short. But watch this. If she take the time to learn who she is and become the mother that she's supposed to, God will fix it. Could it be that God was taking her, it was the plan of God to take her off that road that she was on, bless her to have that child so she could meet the right kind of man? How many know sometimes the right kind of man doesn't want somebody who, watch this, always just got it together? Watch. Sometimes all a man wants is somebody who's settled. I'm about to bust a bubble. Can I tell you that men will run, rip and run and go with this one and go with that one, but whenever he decides that he want a wife, y'all didn't hear me, he don't look in the same pool that he did with all the women where he was running with. Y'all don't hear me. He don't look there. Why? Because if you can run up on Johnny like that, and you can run up on James, y'all don't hear me. And when he starts to look for a wife, he looks for somebody that has that instinct of love. And that's why the Bible clearly says, when he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. Wait a minute. You have to be wife material first. Why am I going there? Because God wanted me to get you to understand. I told you all of that on the natural so I can take you into the spiritual. God knew what he put into us at the very beginning, and he knew that we are wife material. You don't hear me? And he allowed us to rip and run and do whatever we wanted to do, but he knew that he made us wife material. You mean, what do you mean us? Somebody say the church. The church. The church is female. The church is the bride of Christ. Wait a minute. Can I tell you that the bride of Christ was not perfect? That's why Christ came and died. He gave of himself, his whole self, not just stuff, so that he can have a bride that he can turn around and give her everything she needs so she can become what he needs her to be. And then he backs up and says, come to me. Watch now. You got to understand that in this principle, something takes place, and I'm getting ready to take you into another scripture. Go to Genesis chapter number 29. In this scripture, I'm going to begin to show you some stuff. I set all of that up in the natural to show you something in the spiritual that God wants me to get you to understand, that he put inside the church. Somebody say the church. He put inside the church what the church needs to become, everything that he needs her to be, so he can present her back unto himself. We are not here just having programs. We are not here just coming in so that we can learn. What he's giving us the chance to do is he's giving us what we need so we can become what he wants us to become. But while we're becoming that, we got to change our mind. Why? Because if you don't change your mind, you can put on that bridal dress, you can put on the veil, and you can put on them shoes, and you can go marching down, and I don't care how much you say yes to the dress. And if your mind ain't changed, can I tell you, you will mess up a marriage. Y'all don't hear me. But God has put something inside of the church so that the church can become. Somebody say become. It means that, watch, while we're here and while he's giving us life and breath, he wants the church to know that you can become something. But while I'm in heaven, and Christ is there sitting on the throne, he sent the Holy Ghost to come beside us, the Paracletus, to walk beside us so that we can become what he wants us to become. But he wants us to have the mindset that we are a bride. Not when we become a bride, but he wants us to become a wife now. Somebody say right now. Right. So I said, Lord, I don't understand part of what you're going. I understand it in the natural. So he took me to this scripture. When he took me to the scripture, we dealt with this before, but we're going to run through the scripture and then I'm going to close. Genesis chapter number 29. I want you to begin to look at verse number 1. It says, in the beginning, go a little further. And then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well. Somebody say a well. A well. It means a pit. It means figuratively, it means to explain. It means to declare. It means to make plain way. And he looked, and behold, a place. The place that things became plain to him was where? In the field. And lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying. I was like, wait a minute. Why didn't the Bible just say that there were sheep that were lying at the pit or at the well. It's because he wants you to understand that there were 3 types of sheep that were lying there. We go in there too. And thither were all the flocks gathered. He says, and there were all the flocks gathered. Somebody say, all.
Oh.
I want to show you something. And they rolled a stone from the well's mouth and watered the sheep and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. Verse number 3 is not him telling you a story. Verse number 3 is him telling you the custom. Because he begins to tell you what's happening in the scenario. But then verse 3 is added in there to show you the custom. How do I know this? Because he says, and thither, meaning at the well, were all the flocks gathered. That word gathered is past tense. And they rolled is past tense. The stone from the well's mouth, and watered is past tense. The sheep, and put the stone again, which means they just did it, past tense, upon the well's mouth in its place. And it says, and Jacob said unto them, my brethren, where are you from? And they said, Haran. Can I teach you the custom? The custom is this. When you're in the field and you have a set of flocks, 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 and you're out in the field and you got your herd out in the field, they're not going to pull the top off of that well to water yours, and then pull it off to water yours, and then pull it off to water yours, and then pull it off to water yours. Why? Because this stone that was on top was extremely heavy. And if they're going to move it, they only need to move it once a day. Because it's going to take all the shepherds to grab the stone, move it off, and then they can dip water for their herd, for their sheep. After they finish watering their sheep, all the shepherds get together, grab that stone, and put it back on the top. Can you see that? Watch. And Jacob said to the men, now he comes back to the scenario, which means they haven't pulled the top off yet. Watch. And Jacob said unto them, my brethren, where are y'all from? Remember, Jacob just traveled to a far journey. And they said, Haran. I was looking at the look and I said, I don't understand. What do you mean by the custom? Look at Acts chapter number 2. I should have pulled it up. Verse number 1. And it talks about when they were all on one accord. Let me read it for you. Acts chapter 2, verse number 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all, somebody say all, with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. I want to teach you principle, not the story. Watch this. Is when you have people that are working together, amen, you begin to have a certain kind of result. Watch. As sure as we know this principle, go back to where we were in Genesis 29. Somebody say principle.
Principle.
This is what the Lord showed me. Until you have this principle down in your relationship, your love can't be complete. What is the principle? That I cannot draw, God, I cannot draw from the well until you pull your part. Amen. Oh, are you seeing? I can go here to do business by myself because you won't. But how many know you will have a hard time pulling that stone off of that well by yourself? Amen. So he's trying to show you what happens when those that are together, when you come together and you work together, although you're different herds, but all working together to move the stone, everybody that takes part in the moving can get the refreshing. The Lord began to show me, watch this, that the reason why church folks or churches are not, we keep talking about what God's going to do. We keep talking about there's going to be a refreshing. But can I tell you, there's not going to be a refreshing until there's one accord. until everybody comes in with one mind, one heart, one spirit. And can I tell you, you ain't going to happen if you think church is about you. Not until you come to the place where you recognize that I come to church to link up with somebody. Because somebody says, I can stay home and have church all by myself. I go on the internet and pull up somebody and get a good word. Go on and get your good word. But my Bible tells me, forsake not to assemble yourselves as the manner of some is, especially when you see that day approaching. We know the end is coming, but God says, watch this. Yes, you can stay alone. Yes, you can do your own devotion. But something happens when you come into the house of God and we all come together and get on one accord. We will get a refreshing that you can't get in your house by yourself.
Amen.
So he begins to show me, watch this, how does that apply to the church's relationship to God? Watch this. God loves us unconditionally, but not until our love grows up and comes to the place where we love God more than we love our own agenda. When we come in with the mindset that we love God that way, then we link up with God and we too, I told you the two becomes one, and they lift off the lid off of something that is restored. There is refreshing. There is refreshing in the well. There is an overflow in the well, but you can't have the refreshing if you don't link up with God in love. And the reason why some people can't do it is because they got their own agenda. You don't hear me? How in the world can two walk together unless they are? My Bible tells me the one will desire to go one way and the other desires to go another way. One has their own way of doing it and another has their way of doing this, until you come together and say, your way plus my way equals our way. When you get to the place when it's about us and you recognize that your responsibility, I got to talk to you so I don't get myself in trouble. Amen. When you realize that your responsibility to the relationship, that you got to give your part and I've got to give my part, and if we both give our part, we can live like nobody else knows. We can have a great relationship. But the reason why most stuff is not flowing and the reason why there's problems, because the love is one side. And the Lord began to deal with me and work with me about that. And he said, the church keep talking about refreshing, but the church don't want refreshing because their love hadn't grown up. If I still got to tell you about the ABCs, if I still got to tell you about tithing, if I still got to tell you to keep yourself, if I still got to tell you to come into this building and give God glory, your love hadn't grown up yet, because when it grows up, it'll come into this place and nobody can be in here. And you can sit and be in the presence of the Lord and begin to commune with God, you and God. That's why when you enter, David says, I will enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. I'll be thankful unto him and I'll bless his name. He wasn't talking about in a crowd. He was talking about I can come into the house of prayer and nobody else is there. God is there with me. But I thought he said where two or three are gathered in his name, he's in the midst. Can I tell you, the Father will meet you, the Holy Ghost will meet you, Jesus Christ will meet you there, and that's three of them and four. You can come into the house of God and sit and experience the presence of God. But the reason why people don't experience the presence of the Lord is because their love is lopsided. And I come to tell you, it's about a man who loves a woman, and he loves her so much that he keeps showing up, hoping that the real her will show up this time. Y'all hear me? And he's waiting on somebody that will show up. I mean, I'll get in this picture. And the custom says that they two got to work together. Look at somebody and tell them we got to work together. And Jacob said unto them, my brothers, tell me where are you from? They said, we from Haran. Can I what? Right, if you write down Haran, write down next to it, the word means in the Hebrew, it means to be parched. We are from a place that's dry. Can I tell you, they are all around the well. They were in the right place to receive the flow, but they were all thirsty. And it's not until all of the shepherds, somebody say all the shepherds, until all the shepherds got on one accord and all had to be present for everybody to receive a refreshing. Haran means to be parched or to be dry. And he said unto them, do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, yeah, we know him. And he said unto them, is he all right? Yo, the scripture says, is he well? But what is it? What it means? It's not asking him about his physical body. He's asking him about his character. Is he? You know how you're inquiring about somebody, especially when a man done scoped out a lady that he won't meet, and something hurts. Other folks know her. He said, tell me about her. Is she all right? And based upon what somebody else will say, you'll start to understand the person's character. Somebody say character. So watch this. If your character is a character of love, and people know your character, when somebody look at you and say, do you know them? And they begin to talk about you. How many know if you're doing right or you loving right, ain't nobody got to tell. You ain't got to tell nobody about your love. Everybody else will know about your love. And other folks will begin to testify, oh, that person is great. Awesome person to be around. Oh, they got a big heart. But how many know if your character ain't right, they gonna talk about you too?
Right.
And he says, well, is he well? And they said, yeah, he's well. He's okay. And behold, this is where it takes a turn. And behold, Rachel, his daughter, cometh with the sheep. Wait a minute. I thought I told y'all that there were 3 kinds of sheep there, which means there were 3 shepherds there. Yeah. But they couldn't. Why they wasn't going to pull the top off is because Rachel. Somebody say Rachel. Rachel was a shepherd. She tended her father's flock. Watch. And since she tended her father's flock, they couldn't pull the top off until Rachel shows up. Y'all ain't ready for this. Watch, since Rachel was a shepherd, they had to wait for Rachel to bring her flock in. How much could Rachel really lift? Could it mean that, watch this, that God let Jacob show up at the right time so he can find the right lover of his soul? But even though she could not do all that the other men needed to do, they, by custom, could not open the lid to the well until she showed up. What in the world is going on here? This thing's trying to download. We ain't remember that. Watch this. And he says, and Rachel, his daughter, cometh with the sheep. And he said, lo, it is yet high day. Somebody say high day.
High day.
Watch this. Neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep and go and feed them. Jacob didn't know the custom of the people. Jacob says, it's in the middle of the day. It ain't time for y'all to be going and worrying about the cows. Water, give these sheep something to drink so y'all can go on and do what you need to do. Can I tell you, be careful with somebody else looking into your relationship, trying to tell you to go on and do something. Be careful when you allow somebody else to tell you to do something that God is telling you to wait on. Be careful when God knows that you need to be on one accord. Watch this. But child, I wouldn't take that if I were you. What I would do if I were you, I would go on and do my own thing. Shut up and keep your mouth of other people's relationship. Did Pastor just say that? Amen. Can I tell you, it ain't none of your business. Why? My Bible tells me I'm about to get myself in trouble. Since the two have become one, well, if you're connected to them, then you have a voice. If you're not connected to them, then your voice doesn't matter.
Amen.
He even goes as far, I told you, Minister Roger, I'm going to get to this. He even goes as far as that when it comes down to the Bible, talks about what goes on in your bed, when the Bible goes silent, he said, you need to shut your mouth.
Amen.
Why? Because watch this. He says, whom God has joined together, let no man put asunder. You are putting asunder. You are separating two. If you didn't stand there and say, I do to them, get your behind out of their, get out of their relationship, because you become a problem.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are and how you are, get out of that relationship because you become a problem. It's hard enough for the two to come together to be one and walk as one than to have another voice talking in the background, because it jacks up a person's responsibilities when somebody says, child, I want to take that about you. You ain't me. eat. That's why you can't take it. You need to stay out, because watch, if you don't, you set yourself up in judgment. Why? Because God is, when he said, even with his son Christ Jesus, he wants us to be on one accord with Jesus. He doesn't want us to hear two voices. He wants you to hear the voice of your man, and he wants you to become him. Why? So that the church in Christ can walk together as one. But any other voice, my Bible tells me, you got the power to condemn.
Yes.
You know what he said? Wait. But he says something here. He says, no, but it's the middle of the day. Now, they just said to him, Rachel coming. He don't know who Rachel is. He ain't checked out Rachel yet. And Rachel coming with her sheep. And they just telling him the custom, we can't do this until Rachel comes. Well, y'all need to go ahead and water. Because you got other animals you need to tend to. You got other stuff you need to do. And he said, no, we can't do this until Rachel get here. But watch what happens. He said, and they said, we cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, watch this, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Wait, how many sheep did Jacob show up with? None. But the other shepherds were there, and there were 3 flocks that was there. And here comes Rachel to bring the fourth. Somebody say the fourth. Watch. But right when one accord happens, and it was time for Rachel to put her hand to the stone, Jacob went to the stone and stood on Rachel's behalf. Y'all didn't get it. The moment you get yourself in place, God said to tell you what you trying to do of your own self, if you would just show up and be in place, I'll step in for y'all. I'll step in for you. Why? Because I love you so much that I know the load that you're carrying is too much, and I know what you have to lift in order to water the flock, and you won't have to water them yourself. All you've got to do is get in place. Stop trying to fix this yourself. Get yourself in place. And when you get in place, when Jacob saw Rachel, Rachel didn't have to keep the custom. Y'all hear me? Custom was broken because Jacob stepped up, who didn't even have a flock, and began to roll the stone away so that Rachel could get the blessing. Watch this. Not only get the blessing, but water the sheep. Watch this. What happens is, and it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, that the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban from his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. That man fell in love. Y'all,
yes, he did.
When he saw that woman, he told her, you ain't gonna ever have to lift this stone no more. He lifted the stone off with the other men and said, you please catch this. Lord, when I saw this, when God finished with me with this, I went to bed with a smile on my face.
Jesus.
When you recognize that Christ loves you the way he loves you, he's just waiting on you to show up and get in place and get on one accord. And when you do, not only will he move the weight, remove the stone, but he'll water your sheep. Y'all get it? He'll take the bucket that you were supposed to dip with, and that you had the responsibility. Your responsibility. Look at somebody, tell them it's your responsibility. But he takes your responsibility and makes it his responsibility, and he takes the bucket and goes to all the sheep. And can you see this woman? For the first time, she's struggling to do something that most men had the responsibility to do it. Why? Because it wasn't supposed to. I'm about to walk right there. Can I tell you, it's not supposed to, that kind of weight is not supposed to be on the woman. God didn't make the woman for that. That's why we're not equal. God, when Eve walked on the scene, God already had everything in place. So that when Eve walked in, all Eve needed to do was run what God had supplied. God don't get it. So when God supplied it, she was supposed to go in there, organize it, and make it work. But he was supposed to supply it. That's why my Bible says, if a man don't work, he ain't supposed to eat. Y'all, that's why that when he comes in and does all he can to make not only his house, but his wife not just happy, but supplied for, and he gives her everything that she needs. So now that she can turn around and give him everything back that's supposed to come to him.
Amen. Amen.
That's not conducive to the way things work in this day. But can I tell you, according to the Bible, somebody say the Bible, that's God's plan. And Rachel, doing the work of a man, comes down to the well, struggling. All the men are there already with their sheep, and she's struggling to get hers to the well. And when she gets there, because her heart's in the right place, because her motive is right, and she's not going to let nothing stop her. When she gets to the well, this man just finished asking about her dad's wedding. This man just finished asking him about the custom. This man just got school, why you don't do this at certain time. And they just taught this man a lesson. Watch. And as soon as this man hears this fine chick roll up with all of that sheep, and we ain't supposed to move that until she showed up. Y'all ain't get it. What God is waiting on is for you to show up. Because the moment you show up like you're supposed to show up, God said, let me move the stone. And he goes and he moves the stone. When he moves the stone, he takes your bucket. Y'all ain't hearing me. He didn't grab nobody else's bucket. He goes, can you see Rebecca? Not knowing who this man is, standing there. And this man not only took my responsibility and took the weight off me, but he watered my flock. Wait a minute. It was a miracle. Y'all didn't even see the miracle. I got happy about this. The miracle was immediately. Somebody said immediately. That's the kind of man I want. That man took the stone and took my weight off of me. I ain't got no more burden now. He watered my flock. So can you see? It was a miracle just to let Jacob walk up to it and, lay one on him. You don't hear me? And he kissed her. And when he kissed her, he said, oh! Girl, where your daddy at? Can I tell you that? Watch. Because he stepped up to responsibility when? Up front. Somebody say up front. Because watch this. So if he steps up to the responsibility up front, then it behooves you to get your mind changed. Because she took, I got to show you, got close. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was, it means kinsman, and he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. Let me ask you a question. I thought she had sheep. He took over or assumed responsibility of her sheep. And she knew from a kiss, y'all ain't ready for this, that she was in good hands. And she turned and ran to her daddy. When she ran to, and it came to watch. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob his son, watch this, son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him. And and he did what? He returned something back to Jacob that Jacob had given to his daughter. You got to see it spiritually. What do you mean spiritually? Watch. Christ shows up at the well to break custom for you. And the moment you showed up in the right place, he lifted your burdens. Lord took care of your problems. Kissed you and made you his. You fell in love that you forgot your sheep and ran home to talk to God, your Father. That when God showed up, he gave you back. Y'all ain't ready for this. He gave you back what you gave.
Amen.
You see it?
Yeah.
Once. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him. And watch what he do. It was left, and he brought him where? Where is God's house? And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, surely thou art bone, my bone and my flesh. What does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like when Adam says to Eve, you are now bone of my bone and flesh of mine? It means that you are now so connected to me that we cannot be separated. And he abode with him the space of a month. You can close your Bible. When a man loves a woman, God said that he loves you unconditionally. And all he's waiting on you to do is change your mind and get into the right place. And when you do, I'll lift the load, water your flock, kiss you, make you mine, and take you in, and you will now become my abode. Somebody say, when a man loves a woman. On this Valentine's Day, I have to show you the natural so that you can see the spiritual. Somebody say responsibility.
Responsibility.
Your love has to grow up. Your love has to grow up. But you don't understand, I've been like this all my life. That is the problem. Your love has to grow up. Why? Because love has to change. Your love has to go through what is called a metamorpho. It has to metamorphosize. It means to transform. Anybody ever seen a Transformer movie?
Yeah.
It means that your love has one shape, but when it's connected to somebody else, your love is supposed to transform into something else that you've never seen before. If you are still trying to love the way you've always loved, you will always get what you always got. You're going to have to come to the place where your love transforms, whereby you connect with one person and the other person comes together and the two become one. You not just meet in the middle, but you throw everything. Somebody say everything. Both of you throw everything into the pot to make it work. If that has to happen in the natural, you've got to understand that's how it happens in the spiritual. When God says, I'm all in, the question now is not if he's all in. The question is now, are you all in? Because you can't keep expecting God to love you on a level that you're not willing to go to yourself. Somebody say all in.
All in.
Stand 2 feet, every head bowed, every hand closed. Can I tell you this world loves in a strange way? As long as you're doing for them, they'll love you. Can I tell you that kind of love will run out? What God is looking for is somebody who will love him unconditionally. If you throw your love on him, he will remove the burden, bring refreshing, turn your life around, and you will live like you've never lived before. When a man loves a woman, could it be that you keep saying God is going to do it? No different than somebody saying, I need a good man. What good is it going to do you to have a good man and you won't change? I want you to, with your eyes closed, your head bowed, to begin to talk to the Lord for yourself. And begin to say to the Lord, Lord, I want to be what you want me to be. Show me how to do what I'm supposed to do. I want to become what you want me to become. I know you're requiring something of me, and sometimes it's tough to get. But I want to be one with you. Because I recognize that being one with you is where the anointing is. Where yokes are destroyed. Or debts are canceled out. Where refreshing comes. And I desire to live that kind of life with you. But I recognize that I can't have it until I change my mind. Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we're asking you now, God, while we're standing in your presence, thank you for loving us the way you love us. Thank you for waiting for us. Thank you for always being there. That whenever we need you, we can call on you. But now it's time you're calling on us to come to a higher place in you. So today, God, we're asking, as a church and then as an individual, that you would invite us into this place. We want to be on one accord with you. We come to you now, God, asking you to forgive us of our sin, cleanse us from all iniquities, forgive us of all our trespasses, and cause us to stand before you in the right place. And we're asking you to kiss us with the kiss of salvation. Restore us and renew us. Make us all over again and make us into what you would have us to be. We long for that relationship with you. We ask you now in your Son Jesus' name, whatever needs to be worked out. I bind every spirit that's not of you. That spirit of infirmity that wants to prevail. That spirit that attacks the mind, the body, and the soul. We come against you now in the name of Jesus. And we declare no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Every tongue that rises against us in judgment we condemn. We declare right now in the name of your Son Jesus Christ. Father, you've given us authority over all the powers of the enemy. You said by no means shall anything harm us. Now we're asking you now for another chance. Thank you for waiting for us to come to this way. Thank you for waiting for us. You didn't move the lid until we showed up. Thank you, God, for waiting on us. And since you're calling us, we're going to answer the call. We're here. So we throw our hands up to you in surrenderance to you, asking you to help us to change our minds. Give us the mindset to become what you would have us to become. And then I'll say this. Anyone who does not know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you desire him to come into your life, to lift that stone, that burden of sin, or that guilt off of you, so you can become the people of God. If you don't know him, if anybody desires to know him, I want you to lift your hand to the Lord and say, please me. And I want everyone under the sound of my voice to pray this prayer, no looking around. Father, in the name of Jesus, we come to you today, asking you to come into our lives, come into our heart, save us, wash us, cleanse us, make us new, make us whole. We confess your Son Christ Jesus and believe that he died on the cross for my sins and yours. We come to you this day, inviting you to my heart. Become my Lord, my Master, my Savior, my King, my Lord. And I give you my life. From this day forward, I'm yours. In Jesus' name we pray. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
And amen. Come on, put your hands together. Amen. Amen. Turn around and high five somebody and say, when a man loves a woman. How many know love will make you do crazy things? Amen. Amen. I'm going to ask you if you take your seat one quick second. I have a couple short announcements I want to say to our guests. Thank you so much for coming and being with us today. I also want to say thank you to R&R for your participation yesterday. I had a presentation today from yesterday, and my laptop decided that it wants to stay in one mode and not turn on. So it's back there in the office still trying to turn on. So I will get that presentation. I took some pictures. Just want to share with you, and I wanted to say thank you. I want to say a special thank you to Brother DJ, Sister Linda, Linda's Cupcakes for providing the cupcakes. And Lillian, thank you so much. Those people love those cupcakes. Let me tell you something. You know they love the cupcakes when they're willing to drive all the way to South Carolina. Okay. Yeah, my little sister Terry, her family's having. For those that don't know, Terry is really my cousin. And my mom adopted Terry, or took Terry in. When Terry was 3 days old, and Mom adopted her when she was 15 officially. Terry is my sister. If you call her my cousin, you won't be in for a fight. But Terry's side of the family wanted to have something, and I had taken some cupcakes home at one time, and Terry took a cupcake that we call out in the country. Somebody wanted a piece of it. We got a taste of Linda's cupcake way in the country in South Carolina. And they had something going on and wanted some cupcakes. So we had to make arrangements for cupcakes to be delivered from Linda's cupcake to my hand to Midway to meet my brother. My brother from Pooler to South Carolina, from South Carolina to Latson, from Latson out in the country. Them cupcakes finally got to their destination. So I want to tell you thank you too. I don't know about you about yesterday, but my heart was heavy in a good way yesterday. There were some things that were said by people, and I watched. I don't remember the little lady's name that sat at the table near the music lady. And I gave her a cupcake. And I said, now this cupcake comes with a hug. She said, really? I said, yes ma'am. So are you ready to collect your hug? She said, by all means. And I gave her the hug, and she held me. And when she let me go, tears started welling up in my eyes. And she says, now you do know, she grabbed me by the hand, I needed that hug more than I needed that cupcake. I said, would you like for me to open the cupcake? She says, no, I just want to savor the hug for a little bit. And I had to turn from the crowd because my heart got heavy. You don't know how much of a blessing we were. That's what ministry is. We didn't go to produce or put out the name of the church. I tell you, if you're going to be a blessing to somebody, be a blessing to somebody who can't be a blessing back to you. I want to tell you, thank you all for your efforts and for everything that was done. We give God the glory because we said we do it unto the Lord. Now, coming up, there's a couple of people that need Mother Ware. Please lift Mother Ware up and Mother Mary up in your prayers. Mother Ware is heavy on my heart. The Lord told me to do something yesterday and it scared me. I was on my way to meet you guys and be there on time. The Lord said to go and get her some flowers. And I said, I will. I said, I don't want to be late. So what I want to do is I'll come back and I'll do it. And as I was getting ready to get on the road to get on 17 to come there, he said, now. I didn't know when the Lord said now, he means now. And I was like, oh. I was trying to negotiate. Can I do it? He said, now. So I turned around and I went and got the flowers. When I got the flowers in my hand that I thought was nice. And I said, no, those are better looking than those. And I went to put the flower back and he said, no. See, he'll say, God don't talk to you. Okay. When you have a relationship with the Lord will lead and guide you.
Amen.
And when he said no, I stopped. I said, I'll just hang on to these because they look a little flimsy. I wanted a better bouquet of a different color. Went in and took those flowers to Mother Ware. Did you hear what she said yesterday? She said, my favorite, how did you know my favorite color? I was about to trade them for some yellow flowers. Didn't know, but the Lord said no, not knowing her favorite color was orange. And so when I gave it to her, the flower blessed her. And I moved back and I just pray for her. Pray for her. Because it scared me. Because when that happens, it's like being called to the hospital. Go see about so-and-so. Like, go see about Brother Bill. I said, no, I'm going make time to go do it. And something came up. And I said, I'm going another day. And he said, now. And I said, okay, I'll go. And I left and I went and talked to Brother Bell. When I went to talk to Brother Bell, when I left the next morning, he passed away. I learned my lesson from missing it twice. He told me to go see 2 people before, and I was slowful in going because it went against my agenda. And I learned that when the Lord said to go do it, you go and do it then. So I don't know what the reason is or what was going on. Just pray for them both. The 18th, Sunday coming. Anybody planning on going to South Carolina? Who's planning on going to South Carolina? All right. Here's what I need you to do. Please go ahead and confirm definitely by tomorrow evening. Why? It's because I want us all to travel together. If there's enough, we may get a big van. Let's get on the one van and go to South Carolina. But I need you to confirm with Minister Roger by tomorrow. Because can I tell you, it's hard getting a larger van in Brunswick. So please get with her and let her know if you're planning on going. I'd rather you tell her, and even if you back out, that's still space for somebody. I'd rather do that than to wait for the last minute and then we can't get it. So what we're going to do is when we leave service, we'll get a chance to go and get pick up a little bite to eat. We have to be there by 4 o'clock. I want to be on the road by 12:15 to get there at a decent hour. But we'll get a chance to probably go and pick up something, get on the road, and then go to South Carolina. Now this is a turnaround. We'll get there, minister, turn around, make our way back home. And hopefully we'll be home before midnight. Okay? Everybody received their statement? Anybody did not receive their statement? Good. All hearts and minds are clear? Say again? Okay. All hearts and minds are clear. Would you like to greet the people? Would you like to stand and say something or greet the people? Are you good? Good. Come on, put your hands together for our guests and give them a big round of applause. Everybody stand to your feet so they can go home. Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, thank you for loving us the way that you love us. We just ask as we leave this place, but not from your presence, that you continue to be with us. Continue to lead us and guide us into all truth. Bless us to become what we're supposed to become with you. God, and we go home to our natural relationships and we begin to do work. Bless us all to get on one accord and to do those things that are pleasing to you. Those that are desiring a bride or a husband, we ask now in your Son Jesus' name that you fulfill the heart's desire, that you bless them with what they need. We'll forever give your name the glory, the honor, and the praise, for it belongs to you and you alone. In Jesus' name we pray. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
And amen. God bless you. We love you. We'll see you on Wednesday.
No, he's